Hi, my name is Jennifer Main, and today we are going to talk about the usability test that was conducted on the Killer Personality podcast website. First, we had two types of tests that were used for this usability testing. So the two types of test was a quantitative test and a qualitative test. Now, a quantitative test is going to be your numerical data, and it's going for this specific test. We actually used quantitative data as a measure of time, and this measure of time was over navigation throughout the website. So the quantitative tests that will be presented on today were all for navigation and using measurements of time. Now, qualitative tests were used to explain quantitative data. So when I like to think about qualitative test, it's a quality or a characteristic. So it's something that can be used to help explain your quantitative data. And specifically for our usability test, our qualitative test used a questionnaire, and that questionnaire was to help better explain that quantitative testing that we did. And it was through that questionnaire, and it was based on navigation. So for our quantitative test, we actually conducted two different tests, and they were both for navigation. So the first one was the findability and completion rate. So this is from Suro in 2013. They actually used this as a metric to test different websites and that website navigation. So I thought that would be a great test to use for this usability test on this website as well. The second was the time to find test. Now, this test was also from Suro, and this test was actually going over task and how long it took any user to actually find that task on the website. Whereas that findability completion rate, all it is did the user find the task or not? If they did not find the task, they got a 0. If they did find the task, they got a 1. So that's the difference between those two quantitative tests that we did for this website. So for these quantitative tests, the tasks were exactly the same. So the user went through the same questions for both tasks and for both tests. So the first, I'm just going to read through the questions and tasks that the users were asked to find. The podcast reviewing Amanda Knox is in which season and episode number? What is the highest membership level a user can sign up for? If a user wants to become a member, can you find how they are to sign up? Is there a link for the user to go to? If the user wants to know the profession of Destiny, where do they go, and can you identify her profession? What Enneagram number does the investigator refer to? What is the topic of each season of Killer Personality podcast? Will a member receive a gift every 6 months? If so, which membership level are they in? And then the challenger is in which Enneagram type? So those were the questions for those two quantitative tests. We also did a qualitative test, so this was that questionnaire. So we only had one test here, and it was a 5-question questionnaire that was based off that quantitative test. So those questions are this. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being most difficult, how easily were you able to navigate the site to find each task for the findability completion rate? Did you feel as if you were able to navigate well to each task when working through the time to find test? If not, what were some issues you experienced? Overall, did you feel the navigability was laid out well throughout the site and easy to use? How did you feel about the overall look of the site? Did you find the site easy to look at visually? And did you notice anything not working properly on the site? So for our results, first we're going to go through the quantitative results, the findability completion task rates. So for question number 1, the podcast reviewing Amanda Knox is in which season and episode? Every person, we had 4 users that went through these tests. Every single user was able to find this task. So there was a 100% completion or a rate of 1. We saw this same for the second question, what is the highest membership level a user can sign up for? This again, every user was able to find this task, so we gave a 100% completion or a 1 for that rate. Number 3, if a user wants to become a member, can you find how they are to sign up? 100% were able to find this task as well, so everyone got a 1 for this. If the user wants to know the profession of destiny, where do they go and can you identify her profession? Again, every user that went through our testing was able to find this task, so it got a 1 as well. For number 5, what Enneagram number does the investigator refer to? Again, every user was able to find this task on the website, so it got a rate of 1 or 100%. Was the topic of each season of Killer Personality Podcast. Again, every user was able to find this, so it got a rate of 1. Will a member receive a gift every 6 months? If so, which membership level are they in? Again, every user was able to find this task, so it got a 1 or a 100%. And then the challenger is in which Enneagram type. Again, we got a 100% completion from every single user. So overall, every user was able to find all of the tasks. Now, what was interesting was the average time it took the users to find each task. So I gave my results in average seconds between all 4 participants that went through the testing. So the average time it took all users to find question number 1 was 35.40 seconds, and this was measured with milliseconds as well. For question 2, what is the highest membership level a user can sign up for? This had an average of 9.65 seconds between all users. For question 3, we had an average time of 6.85 seconds among all the participants for finding number 3's task. Number 4, it actually took an average of 21.24 milliseconds or seconds to find this task between all the users and participants. For the Enneagram number, does the investigator refer to? This took an average of 10.4 seconds among the participants. The topic of each season of Killer Personality Podcast, this took a little longer. It took around an average of 21.43 seconds. Will a member receive a gift every 6 months? This took an average of 11.73 seconds among the participants. And the challengers in which Enneagram type, this was 9.67 seconds average time for all the participants. And I also have this in a graph as well, and this just shows that each question, the average milliseconds it took, or seconds that it took for all of the participants to find each task. For qualitative results, for question number 1, everyone who participated in the usability test gave this question a 5, meaning they were easily able to find each task on the site. For question 2, each person answered this question by saying they were able to navigate to each task well when working through this test. For question 3, each person answered this question by saying that they thought the site's navigability was laid out well. Now, number 4, the overall consensus was that the site was easy to look at visually, but the site was kind of boring and needed something extra to it. So I've got to work on that part of this from our results. And then did you notice anything not working properly? Everyone said that there was nothing on the site that they noticed did not work properly. So to conclude, the usability test was great. We were able to see that every task that was asked was able to be found on the site. Some did take a little bit longer, but they were all found, and it just depended on the user as to how long it took them to find it. And we are going to go through the site and make sure we add a little bit more extra to it so that it's not boring to look at visually, and we'll hold the any users' attention as they are using the site. Thank you.